I thought it'd be interesting to record myself writing this piece, Conversational Court Vision. So I have like 14 hours of my life condensed down to about 15 minutes. If you didn't get a chance to read the piece, it is essentially observing what makes a great conversationalist and how do they always make people feel heard and how can they navigate conversation and share interesting stories in basically any social setting. The answers that I give are two-part. The first part is mapping like Messi. So that is a hyper-awareness of your surroundings and helping people uncover the truth about themselves. The second part is bending like Beckham. That is accepting that in conversation there is no avoiding bending reality. By providing information and by giving answers to questions, you are going to bend reality, so you might as well do it with personality and style. And then I wrap it up by saying that great stories are downstream of a little bit of drama. So there always seems to be a healthy amount of drama in the great conversationalist life. So taking it back to the blank page, this is the absolute scariest part of writing anything. The best thing that we can do here is just involuntarily get any thought or idea we have about the topic out of our body and onto the page. I'm not really writing anything coherent here. The sentences aren't connected to each other. It's thought experiments. It is things that other people have said that I'm regurgitating. It's anything that I can think of. So we're not judging this part of the writing process too hard. This just needs the freedom to, okay, I do judge myself at the bottom here. I'm 3 paragraphs in and I'm reminding myself that I'm a shit writer and I should give up. I do this. This is like when you go for a run and you hit that first wave of like heart attack. If you write enough times, you will eventually learn to power through. So the idea for this essay, it did come from watching Messi in the 2022 World Cup and kind of noticing that he was walking around. And I thought that was odd for the best soccer player in the world. And then I read this piece in the New Yorker, really cool piece, essentially making the same observation. And I probably talked about it with friends. We chatted about games and talked about like, what is Messi doing when he's just walking around? So if something meets that 3 criteria, if I noticed it in the real world and thought about it in my free time, if I read about it, and if I talked about it with other people, if it meets those 3 criteria, there's probably enough material there to write a 5-minute essay about. At this point in the writing process, I'm feeling horrible about it. I have 1 page, but I have no clue what this essay is actually about. What is the point of it? I've made an observation about Messi walking, but I don't know what I'm really trying to say, and that's bothering me. So I stopped writing, and then that night I listened to this podcast episode. I didn't watch on YouTube, I listened to it, but I wanted to show you. It is a college psychoanalytics course, and this episode is about how we make sense of the world visually, how we make meaning out of what we see. So that helped me, just listening to that and thinking about it more. I came to the conclusion that it could be about mapping my relationships with other people. But then I also had this idea, mapping like Messi, bending like Beckham. So that led me to think about conversation, because when you're listening, you are doing the mapping, but when you're the one speaking, you're doing the bending of reality. But I'm not qualified to talk about reality, so I need to pick something specific that I can write a 5-minute essay on, and that is going to be conversation. And that's kind of a light bulb moment, because I realize I don't have the authority to talk about reality itself, but I do have the authority as someone who has been in many conversations and observed many conversations. I can write a 5-minute essay about conversation. And so I think I kind of fly through the rest of this first draft. The bending like Beckham part is really centered around how Google and ChatGPT work. So when we ask them questions, what they spit out is really important, because that is what people are using to build the narratives in their mind of how the world works. So this article, I think it's a Substack article, it was really interesting read about how ChatGPT is shaping our political reality. So this is kind of the last, I think I read one more essay about Beckham, but that's kind of the last source, I would say, until I have enough information where I need to stop researching. I need to stop looking for exterior information, and I just need to write what is on my mind, or else I'm not going to ever get this done. Quick Federer break before we move on to part two. Part two is it's half. Let's just look at this first paragraph. Some athletes are so in tune with themselves, their surroundings, and the game that they see things without actually having to see them. Not bad. When a ball is hit over Roger Federer's head, he doesn't just smack it between his legs over the net. He often hits blind winners or sets up winners. The beauty of LeBron James' no-look passes is his teammates are typically wide open. That's 3 mouthfuls in a row. And the beauty of LeBron James' no-look passes, that will not make it in the final draft. That's just terrible writing. But the general idea of trying to get someone tuned to court vision, not bad. Let's look at this. Curiosity, therefore, seems to be a key ingredient in mapping. Alex Cooper and Joe Rogan have 2 of the world's most popular interview podcasts because they possess a sincere desire to know their guests. LeBron James wouldn't be the greatest basketball player of his generation if he didn't have a deep desire to continually learn more about basketball. Don't say wouldn't be the greatest basketball player of his generation. Don't speculate. That's just really weak writing. But again, the idea that curiosity is important in mapping, just basic curiosity, that's fine, but don't speculate about someone. This last paragraph. ChatGPT and Google have no choice but to bend reality. The current political fight is over how they do it. It is very important how ChatGPT spits out answers about politicians, historical events. What if ChatGPT was a Holocaust denier, or said that Donald Trump colluded with Russia in the 2016 presidential election? What if it said left-handed people are evil witches? Don't ask questions. We're here to give answers. We have 5 minutes to have people's attention. Let's not give them more questions to think about. Give them answers. But again, the basic idea that ChatGPT and Google have no choice but to bend reality, that's fine. But the presentation sucks. Now I'm going to take everything that I just did with combining craft and concept and copy and paste it into the Substack editor. And now it's just all craft. It's all presentation. It's all detail. The main criteria that I use here is how do the words sound when they come out of my mouth? Would I want to read these in front of a room full of people? Doesn't matter who it is. And if that's the case, then it's good to go. So I'm just reading this over and over, and I'm adding links that people can click on if they want to. But I'm really just reading this out loud and making sure that I like the rhythm and the timing and the cadence, and that the sentences are true and that I'm not wasting anyone's time. So it struck me in the 2022 World Cup that Lionel Messi did not spend most of his time. So even though I'm saying me, this is one of my favorite things about writing is never say I when you can say me or my. Because I wouldn't say I love my mom's breakfast casserole. I would say my mom's breakfast casserole is delicious. Because if I say I love my mom's breakfast casserole, then the next sentence also has to be about me. If I'm saying my mom's breakfast casserole is delicious, the following sentences can be about my mom or her breakfast casserole. Curiosity, therefore, seems to be a key ingredient in gaining conversational court vision. Messi's head is on a swivel while he walks because he always wants more information. So I've already said conversational court vision, and I have also talked about conversationalists, and I continue to talk about conversationalists in the rest of this essay. It's okay to repeat yourself. I thought that repeating yourself was bad writing previously until people would read some of my stuff and be confused. And as a writer, the last thing you want is confused readers. So it's okay to continuously repeat yourself. It's like a song. It's like you have your refrain and you repeat that 3 or 4 times. The verses are separate, but the refrains connect the whole song. And that's the same thing in writing. So I'm going to keep repeating conversation, great conversationalist, court vision. I'm going to keep repeating those things so that the reader is not confused about what this essay is about. Messi is not concerned with asking who the other team's best defender is or what trash he just talked. He asks himself why the defense is positioned a certain way or how it is the right wing cannot get open. So this is the only time I use italics. It's just one other variable that I can use to adjust the cadence and the rhythm and bring attention in a different way because I haven't used italics yet. This is in contrast to interrogators. So I just made interrogators a proper noun, which I find to be an interesting move because it makes it sound like interrogators are a class of people, but they're not. I just made that up. But it does bring people's attention. It kind of changes the way that they think about the word. In the days before DVR, David Beckham was appointment television. Nobody wanted to miss him take a free kick. That's bad. In the days before recordings, David Beckham's soccer matches were appointment television. To miss a David Beckham free kick was to miss an artist at work. So the first thing, I changed DVR to recordings because I don't like when I'm reading something and people make pop culture references. These are 5-minute Substacks, so I am making some pop culture references with Beckham and Messi. Like, people aren't going to understand that in 300 years. But any chance that I can take out something that is pop culture and replace it with something that is more evergreen, like DVR to recordings, I'm going to do that. Because I hate reading old things that I don't understand the references. LLMs are currently caught in the political crosshairs over how they shape our political reality. ChatGPT could deny the Holocaust, for instance, or claim that NASA faked the moon landing. So there, I got rid of those questions. So I'm going to keep making edits here. You can follow along. There's not much left. But the reason that I wanted to do this is just to give somewhat of a blueprint for anyone else who might want to write something. Like I said, these are 5-minute reads. They take me about 2 weeks to do all the research and writing. And I really enjoy them because when I start, I have no clue where it's going to end up. I have an idea in my head, but the research and the writing process often brings me to new conclusions, and I learn something along the way. And I would love for anyone watching this video to start writing and sending me their essays so that I don't have to scroll on social media.